But yeah, Cyn, now do you know what festering rupture means?
Mini screams apparently.
Yes.
Fuck it, I'll learn it. I'll learn it live.
Where do they come from, though?
It depends.
They just
if
roaming
they
the
came
halls?
from, or where did they go? How about Cotton Eye Joe?
Yeah, that seems like the answer is you're not sure.
No. Fickrel something.
Cyn ever sure about anything?
Never.
Yeah.
Only when you teach me.
So they don't just like rando appear or there. They specifically appear when you kill something else.
The biggins?
The scorn stalkers.
Ah.
Which, those are the guys with the shields, yeah?
And now I feel silly. I don't know exactly what they look like just by saying the name.
I know, because I can't remember if they're the ones with the shields or the ones with the rifles, usually.
Let's see.
Or they could be the guys with the torches. I don't know my scorn that well.
It looks like they're the ones with the torches, I think.
Ah.
I don't know.
Oh, no.
All right, let's go to this Wikipedia here.
Really? You're consulting Destiny Wikipedia? Destiny Wiki?
No, you don't consult Destiny Wiki. Consult Destinypedia.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, they're the drag version of the Scorn. They wielding the fallen maces in battles to attack their enemies.
Yeah. Those guys.
Shock pistols they can have too. They can also throw the grenades at their opponents from afar.
Yeah, that would make mini screebs more plentiful than I thought, because those guys are quite abundant.
Bring on the mini screebs. Welcome to episode 131 of the Guardian Hub podcast, where we talk Destiny and our hate of the mini screebs, but our love of the game. Welcome, everyone. Yes, we were talking about, if you didn't hear the pre-show, I don't know what's going to be in the edited version, but there are mini screebs in the Grandmaster Nightfall now, and we are very concerned.
Possibly.
Well, yeah, I don't think either three of us have hopped in it yet, but I've heard some horror stories. Actually, Stalker says that they're not bad. You know, the joke is you actually want to see them. If you don't see them, then you're concerned they may be sneaking up on you, right? But they're not horrible to handle, but the Nightfall alone is pretty hard, and he did get a clear of it, but took him about 10 solid tries. I'm sure with some great groups to eventually get it done. And I know a couple other people that hopped in it today and didn't get it done. So we will continue to hear the reports from our community of how this Nightfall, fares. And I'm sure already we're starting to get, I haven't looked at anything yet, but I'm sure there's like the esoterics or whoever, putting together guides for good loadouts and how to get this one done.
Yeah, I'm sure Dado and the likes are going to be on that.
All the likes. All the
likes.
Yeah, all the peeps. But what is new? Gosh, guys, I was not here last week. Excellent episode.
And I know you forgot the intro.
I forgot the intro?
Yeah, I mean, you forgot the, we sometimes bring on different guests, and your hosts, as always, are Kingsleymac, Cyn and DesRaven.
Yeah, well, you don't pay attention because I don't usually say different guests anymore. But you are right. This guy speaking, well, I'm Kingsleymac, and that guy complaining was Cyn, and then we got Des.
Right, no, that's this guy. That's not even this guy. That's not that guy.
That's true.
I'm pretty much you called me Respawn right there.
The Cyn, the Cyn guy. I don't know what we're supposed to be calling him.
Alicia. I vote on that.
We tried to name it.
Okay, let's start. Des, what's new? Please tell us you have something to quench the awkward conversation.
Awkward.
I do, and I guess we'll be leading in on a very bright note because, as mentioned last week, things happened. I had mentioned things were in works, and a little quicker than I anticipated. I got a nice happy package had waited on me. I went to take my dog out this afternoon, and it was very nice. I guess take a breath, collect yourself.
Lovely guardian.
Yes, somebody. I mean, the thought and I guess potential of it all just has me in awe. At as I said in general when it arrived, it's positively like breathtaking. Just I guess general kindness of the community or communities rather. It's fantastic, and yeah, I will be destiny bound once the internet stops acting up because it's raining and I'm still not halfway through this download. But that's fine. I didn't anticipate it to be done anyway for me to have any real playtime today. But yeah, I have a replacement PS4. Thanks
amazing.
to very
I do have to ask really
kind
quick.
people.
Did you know it was coming?
Yes, I was warned 2 days ago.
You were warned.
Well,
warning.
no,
Danger zone.
Well, I was warned twice. I was told of its existence the 30th, whenever that was.
A week ago, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was actually last week, which is, when I said things were in the works. And then on the 5th, 2 days ago, it's like, it'll be there Thursday. And I'm like, nice. But yeah, so.
Well, I guess that's good. So I don't know how packages are in your area, but sometimes we still get people that try to take things and stuff.
Yeah.
That's not a great neighborhood, but again, luckily.
DoorDash criminals.
Yeah, right. But that was nice because it was raining and UPS. I mean, we have a screened-in porch area because again, we live in an old mill house, but the front porch area is screened in, so it has a doorway. Mm-hmm. So in the hindsight, it's UPS could just open the screen door, slid the package into the porch, but they did at least wrap it in a bag, so it wasn't entirely soaking when I got out there. So that's fantastic.
So
then I went through
Chris in advance. It wasn't moist, is what you're saying.
Not entirely. Not entirely. Yeah, so got inside, opened it up, and about 4 layers of bubble wrap. Jesus. Which is very nice. And again, just there you go. Yeah. So it's fantastic. Got everything checked out because again, as soon as I heard it was coming, it's like, boy, I hope nothing happens to it because that would be awful.
Now, you didn't know before we recorded our last podcast, correct? So, did you find out before or after that recording?
It was that day, actually.
Boy, the 3rd degree.
That was that Thursday. Yeah.
I was going to say, I listened back when recording. I mean, we talked about it a little bit last podcast, but you sounded not as chipper as usual. So I'm glad to have Chipper Des back.
I tend to keep things compartmentalized, and I don't know. That's part of my mentality. Hope for the best, but expect the worst. So again, I waited till I got everything, till everything was here, everything was in place, and everything was working. Because again, nothing against the person or anything, but again, whenever you ship something electronical,
oh yeah,
bad things can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Even with 3 layers of bubble wrap, which that's.
Oh my gosh! No, that's amazing. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I was just curious, and then what? Not that this matters, but what kind of a PlayStation does it seem like? I couldn't tell from the picture.
Oh well, yeah, because it just did top down. It's like, hey, it's here. But it's a slim. Version.
Nice. Okay.
So yeah.
Yep. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Yeah. So you're
very
getting the
nice
Destiny
edition.
back on it, and
Yeah, it's which like I said, I'm doing now. I was down to like 5 hours on the download, but now the download has creeped back up to 7 hours. Again, my
Thank you,
like
PlayStation Network.
No, it's the like I said, like internet in this area like is absolute garbage when it rains heavily. Ever since we had that tornado come through like a year and a half ago, it did some damage to like our central box. So now when weather gets bad, internet gets really funky.
oh no.
Yeah, but oh well. Say la vie. But either way, it is downloading. It will be there, and I will be back in action very soon.
Oh my gosh. Yay.
That's awesome.
Because I was trying to remember too, when I was listening to last week's podcast, did you get to run last week's story from last Tuesday, not this Tuesday, like 2 Tuesdays ago? Okay.
No. I did get caught up. Like I mentioned, using Destiny Lore Vault.
Oh yeah, the audio lines.
The
you were
YouTube
saying?
channel.
Yeah.
Yes. So I did get caught up and I did watch, finally. Sadly, I watched, I think, Tuesday. So I watched what I missed and then just waited a couple hours and watched this week's as well. So, yeah.
Well, good. We could talk
Nice.
about that then too. I didn't want to see if there was any spoilers we wanted to hold back or anything, but but oh my gosh, first though, yeah, I mean, like that's amazing. So hopefully your download doesn't go too slow, but yeah, at least by tomorrow you can be fully back in action. So
Oh yeah, for sure. Like even if it goes slow, like I said, I'm not too worried. I have it set towards it will still go, even if it goes on standby. So, like I said, by tomorrow I'm going to be right as rain. Unless the rain gets really bad and just completely knocks out internet, then I'm not going to be a happy camper.
Nope. Dez's internet's out for a month. No, I don't want to fix anything.
Do not jinx it, Kingsley. Do not jinx it.
I know. I feel bad. Hey, I don't usually jinx things, so that hopefully I'll give it good luck. It'll be better by tomorrow. Or you can yell at me if it doesn't. Oh man. Awesome. What's new with you, Cyn?
Shoot, not much. The usual Destiny grind every single week. If we want to get into what we've been doing in the game, yeah. I've been trying to get
other things, but it's all good.
No, I do nothing but work in game and deal with screaming kids the next couple hours of my day. Mm-hmm. But I mean, this week I definitely got caught up on my seasonal challenges, to my best of my ability. I'm not done yet. I'm probably about 3 or 4 away from completing what's there. Shoot, I've actually did some raiding. Shout out to somebody who's in chat listening. We can see Greenfinger is actually a buddy of mine that I grew up with. He just recently joined the Discord. I ended up doing a vlog with him and his crew last night. So that was always a good time. Getting to raid with them. And played a little bit. Actually, before that, I played a little bit of Gambit with Long. I only ended up getting 1 match in. But that's shout out to Long. Got to play with him for a little bit as well. But other than that, I've been doing my astral alignments. I think Kingsley, did I do the astrals with you?
I feel like we might have done something.
Maybe 1 or 2.
Too much this week.
I know you've been. You and everybody else have been absorbed in Squid Games.
Well, I'll tell more. It's more than just that when I get to my turn. But yeah,
it's not my turn yet. No,
you don't know what I'm doing, Cyn. Except I did tell you a little bit.
You did tell me. Because we were talking in the DMs about Netflix and HBO and what comes with what. Yeah. So yeah, other than that, I did catch up with What If. Hopefully, Des, you're caught up on that. That last episode was interesting. And a couple people were talking in the Discord channel that the end part definitely brought some feels. Captain Carter found her man at the end. But I think that was a nice, interesting twist, how they kind of pulled it all together in that last episode.
I saw stuff about people saying stuff about the last episode. I haven't watched the show, but it's okay. You can say whatever you want. But so good ending.
Yeah, very good ending. I don't know, Des, if you have any thoughts on that while we're on the what if topic, but I thought it was good.
I actually haven't seen it yet.
So no other spoilers.
I haven't even started it yet. Sadly, I feel so bad because I keep forgetting about it.
Well, we won't
Which is
spoil
weird
the rest
because
of it.
usually, because I have Disney Plus on my phone, and usually, like, even if I forgot about a show, like it would pop up and remind me. It's like, hey, this thing's here. It never gave me like an advert for What If. It was so weird. So like with me, it's just kind of almost didn't exist.
Well, definitely get on that. I mean, that's a good. While
I
the
need
PlayStation is updating, you can take that 30 minutes and knock it out.
Right on. Yeah. Okay. Destiny. Yeah, I haven't played too much this week. I did, of course, which I usually do if I can work it with my schedule. But as soon as the Tuesday, reset comes around, especially as we've been having these, and now it's week 7, and we'll go into this a little bit later. Maybe I'm paused for a bit, but I'll try to hit Tuesday as soon as I can to get all this story stuff out of the way. Got the last 3 data caches that were the earliest you could get was this Tuesday. It was the original Shattered Realm area, and there was 3 data caches that came back around. So got those done. Did the weekly story. Good. Another little story element we can talk about. But like other than that, I've basically not been on Destiny at night at all for about a week and a half. No particular reason.
For shame.
The podcast is ending next week. No, no, just kidding.
I mean,
Welcome
we're into
to our
the
new
hundreds,
battle.
so isn't that when you get into the hundreds, podcasts seem to self-cancel?
Well, I mean, yeah, even if for some reason I wanted to stop it, you guys could feel free to keep it going. But but no, I just this last week at couple times I didn't feel like doing much. I don't know if I had a minor bout of depression or whatever. And then, but also like I didn't really play too many other games, but I'm like, well, what do I want to do? I don't feel like gaming at all. Especially like I didn't feel like running VOG for the millionth time. I'm kind of, a little bored of that raid unless someone like we want to bring someone new through or going for triumphs. I just didn't feel like running that, even though I love raiding so much. But funny enough, about half a week or a week ago, started watching Squid Games. And yes, I mean, everyone who's already seen it already knows it's an amazing show. But yeah, I'll have to put in my 2 cents also. Quite an amazing show. It's in Korean. Definitely do the English subtitles. Do not listen to the English dub because it will not be very good at all. And but what's more is this isn't spoiling anything because this is what I was expecting. I thought the show was going to be more like Battle Royale, just crazy games the whole time. But no, actually, the crazy games you can say are maybe 20% of the show, and the rest of the show has like this huge human element story, some drama. You get to know the characters, like a brilliant show, and like little aspects of like Lost put in there, mysteries and stuff that are happening in the game versus out of the game in the quote real world or whatever. So, geez, have a couple episodes left, and probably be finishing those up tomorrow night. And it is highly recommended.
Now, I heard somebody compare or say something like similar to Hunger Games.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, basically that's good enough comparison. Obviously you see a little more blood and killing and stuff than even Hunger Games, but it's not overly gruesome by any means either. I've seen, again, other shows like Battle Royale or other shows where you're seeing like cut off limbs everywhere and everything like that. Basically, if you're sensitive to violence, you will see a lot of people getting quote shot and some fake blood, but it's nothing like overly gruesome in the show. So I think it's brilliant in that aspect too, because it's also just barely on par with what my wife would want to watch. If it was more crazy, she would not be into it at all.
Gotcha. Interesting. I definitely will have to check it out. It's on my docket.
And speaking of, slightly related to this, because I've been watching this with some other people and using that. Have you ever heard, like, you can do it with Netflix and other things too, like HBO and Hulu. You can do like a party watch with people.
Yes.
So you use this Chrome extension. It's called Teleparty, I believe. Let me see. Netflix Party. Yeah, Teleparty. And so everyone installs that, and then it kind of syncs up everyone together. And also, if someone needs to pause it, it'll pause for everyone. And there's also a little chat on the side, text chat. So it's quite nice. And so I have some plans. We are going to be within the next week or so, hopefully next weekend, after you hear this podcast come out. Do like a Friday night, maybe once a month or once every other week, do like a Friday night Netflix. And we could try other services too if people don't have Netflix, but I just figured Netflix was the most ubiquitous of what most people had. But like, we'll just, I know not everyone will be able to make it, but we'll probably just start with some fun comedy movie or some drama first, and then just we can start getting votes and suggestions and things like that for thereon. But I think it'll be really fun to have some of these movie nights in the Discord.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I know other people have done it. Fudd's done it in his Discord before, and it's a great success from what I hear.
Nice. And by then we'll have Discord calendars.
No, I don't think it's that quick.
Doubt it. But also, speaking of like new things and movies, even though it's not entirely related at all, I just saw a trailer today that has me super stoked. And I don't know if y'all have heard of it yet or not, but they are rebooting the Resident Evil movie.
Ooh, I don't know if I heard of that yet.
It is called Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City.
What? Raccoon City?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
That's where the first 3 games happen. 4?
Gotcha, because I haven't
3?
watched them, but I've always been interested in watching them.
But no, it's an entirely different director, and in fact, this director, which is also the writer of the script, apparently, the only thing he's done beforehand that I could see are horror movies and slasher movies of the like. So yeah, and he's definitely looking to. I haven't really seen him say anything bad about the original 6 movies they did, or 7 movies, however freaking many movies they did. Because, like he said, the original movie series was at least tied loosely to the games. They just went an entirely new story and direction. This guy is more taking a little more directly from the games. Like, the cast is nothing but major video game characters: Claire and Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, Ada Wong. It's great. I think they mentioned the movie is going to be set somewhere around like the first and second games, roughly. And he's definitely looking to bring the horror element to Resident Evil, like into the movies. So it's going to be fantastic. Oh my god, I cannot wait to see it.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, on.
So it's going to be really good, and it's got, of course, some of that like younger-ish cast. I can't like recognize people in modern movies most of the time anymore. So it's got like one of those casts, but I'm still like just super stoked just with the passion this director seemingly has. For like, apparently, because parts of it they're gonna. Because unlike the first Resident Evil movie where they featured the mansion, quote unquote, which ended up being an underground Umbrella Corp research facility that was super high tech and looked nothing like a mansion, they are legit having the mansion in this movie. And they even mentioned that they're going to be using, like, much like the games had, like, fixed camera points while in the mansion. So, yeah, he is really looking to bring the horror and suspense of Resident Evil into a watched, experience.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's gonna be so good.
Definitely sounds interesting.
It's gonna be so good. No, it's gonna be so much better than the first series. I can tell you that already.
Well, thanks for mentioning that too. Are the games good?
Oh, Resident Evil. It depends on what you like. Let's see. Resident Evils 1 through 3 are definitely survival horror, and the remakes that they made, I believe, of 1 through 3 kind of keep that feel. Extraordinarily limited ammo, so you have to like figure out, you know, who's really worth it to kill or who you can just slip past. From what I understand, 4, 5, and 6 are more action gamey, so they still kind of have slight elements of survival horror, but they're definitely more focused on, big action, big moments, and stuff like that. And then, of course, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard that came out a couple years ago refocuses on like the survival horror from a first-person perspective, and Resident Evil 8 Village, for anyone that's not like ogling and drooling over Lady Dimitrescu, is very much similar to Resident Evil 7. So, just depends on what kind of experience you're looking for.
Oh, wait a second. I guess I have played one in my. I thought I did, but okay. I have in my Steam library Resident Evil 2.
Mhm.
And was that like in a house or like a building for a big portion of it? Trying to remember.
Resident Evil 2 happens. Yeah, part 1 happens, of course, the mansion. But Resident Evil 2 happens, I think, predominantly in like the Raccoon City police department.
Yes, that's what it was. The police department.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's 2. Which, like I said, this movie will focus. Yeah, it will focus on the Spencer Mansion from 1, and we'll have the police department from the second one as well. So basically, the only thing they're missing is Nemesis from Resident Evil 3, because 2 and 3 kind of happen in the same space of time, just focus on different things. But yeah.
Okay, I liked Resident Evil 2, and I forget why I just have that one. I think it was like on sale or it was like remastered for Steam or something. And looks like I played it February 4th, 2019 was the last time I played it.
Oh yeah, so you probably that sounds about when the remake came out.
Yeah, probably. That's probably why I got it. And yeah, I remember it being pretty cool. So this is like opening a whole kind of like small remembrance for me, and then also like an idea that I wanted to get more into it. So thanks for bringing that up.
Just reminds you how much you didn't complete in your backlog.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I know. And I think you even mentioned this, Des, like, and I'm also like thinking November could potentially be a down month for Destiny. Our Halloween event starting, well, they don't call it that, but you know what I meant, the Festival of the Lost starts next week. But I am excited to get into some other games. I still have another DLC that I haven't done through Assassin's Creed, and
I haven't even completed the game yet.
This new world is actually looking pretty fun to me, and I don't know. I don't think I'll do the Battlefield. Sorry, Gator. But there's other games still I'm interested in. Maybe some Resident Evils.
Yeah, and kind of like Greenfinger was saying in the chat, sadly, the trailer, the CG, like they're not, for the Resident Evil movie, they are not shying away from any of the Resident Evil creatures, which is interesting. But on the downside of that is, it doesn't seem like they had a great budget for this movie. So the CG is not the greatest thing in the world. But I'm hoping like the other elements will kind of, help with the suspense of disbelief to get past that. Because if it's just going to be a bad movie, this is going to stick out like a sore thumb. I hope not, because again, this director seems passionate about it. But yeah, CG looks questionable at best.
Well, yeah, I'll watch the trailer and I'll see what I think too, because I think since I don't have as much invested in this, I'm not gonna like by default give it a like, oh, that's a horrible CG. I'll try to be fair about it, but yeah, like you're saying though, maybe it'll be like, oh yeah, maybe not so great.
Right, because I mean, the first time I watched it, it's like, ugh, that dog looks awful. But then the hunter, blicker, whatever the crap they're called, didn't look too bad. But they also teased like this other huge thing that was only for a second, so it's like, I don't know. But so yeah, it's oof. I don't know how it's going to turn out. But there's always chances of like polish or whatnot and things happening. But also, I could understand the studio doesn't really probably have a lot of faith in this movie because, again, they already did like 7 freaking movies about Resident Evil that just slowly. I mean, according to some article I read, the other 7 movies were all apparently successful and like made money. I don't see how the 6th or like the final chapter did that well, but whatever. But yeah, so this might be just a low budget thing, or they didn't give them that great of a budget just for precaution, basically, so that way they don't lose a crap ton of money.
Like low budget, like Sonic was, and they had to redo Sonic before the actual release.
Oh boy.
Well, see, this thing, Sonic wasn't low budget. That was just bad That was just bad artistic choice.
Yeah, because they obviously then had the money. They probably put a lot of money into fixing it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and then of course, Milo Jovovich is in the Resident Evil movies, or at least some of them.
Oh no,
right?
She's
All of them?
she's in the entire original like the original series.
Which is again one reason why the first movies are only loosely based in the games, because these movies follow entirely her character and like her character's development, which is a character that's never been seen in any Resident Evil game.
Okay. Yeah.
In
Well,
fact-
I always appreciate it when they can try to make a movie more based on the game.
Yeah,
So maybe us like nerds will love it, but like it won't do well
but
overall.
I will say like the series itself wasn't that bad. Like I know of Resident Evil and I've followed Resident Evil and I've seen Resident Evil playthroughs. Never played it myself, but like I know the universe a bit. So I started getting kind of weird about the director's choices around the second movie because they kind of put Jill Valentine, a Resident Evil standard, kind of in the shadow of this new character and just felt weird, which the first 3 movies are good, but after that they just really start to go downhill to me.
Mhm.
But that's me. But the first 3, like, let's see, Resident Evil, I forget what the second one was called. And I think the third one was called Apocalypse. Those are good. Those are good. Those are like actually decent watches and kind of follow enough of the games to be interesting. But yeah, after like 4, 5, 6, maybe 7, I can't even remember if the final chapter was the 7th one or not. I've seen them once. That's it.
Hey, it gives me something on my list. I wonder what streaming services, if any, they're on right now. I'm going to look this up on IMDb.
Potentially Netflix. I think Netflix had a few of them back when I last checked. I don't know about all of them.
It's funny how sometimes you go month to month and they'll move from like one to another streaming
Right.
service.
Potentially you could buy or rent them from PlayStation Video also, considering they are Sony movies.
Yeah. The first ones you can only rent or buy, but it's through AMC if you have a subscription. I do have a T-Mobile offers like a really cheap. It's like $10 a month, like cable subscription where I get AMC Philo. I don't know if anyone's heard of that. PHILO. So I do have AMC, so I can just see if it's on demand or record it when it comes around again. But it's kind of looking like they're not super easily available without renting them or getting these other things. That's okay. I'll figure it out if I care.
Right. And I think that's how I ended up watching the second Spider-Man movie. I think it was on sale and I bought it on PlayStation Video. Because again, it was a Sony movie. So
Nice. Well, that's this is our Resident Evil Halloween talk. Do we want to go into news first or talk about the story? And news includes TWAB stuff, you know.
I mean, news is light, so we can knock that out.
Let's do it.
There's not a. It's kind of another meager TWAB, which is fine. We've had freaking weeks upon weeks of like thick TWABs. A few weeks of a more manageable bite-sized TWAB is just fine.
Just fine with us.
Because the TWAB does not talk anything about trials, which makes sense considering there was no trials. So
I know, because they've been reporting back every other week so far.
yeah, exactly. Even though DMG actually does make a reference to trials and like makes a whole bunch of jokes in the closing of the TWAB, so it's fantastic. Let's see. They of course mention the fact that Festival Lost is coming, but they're not really talking about it yet. They are talking about a ghost, the Calavera ghost shell, which is apparently Bungie collaborating with, I'm assuming, Luis Yepes?
Yeah, Luis or Ipe. I don't know how to pronounce that, but I am so freaking excited for this ghost. It's the Day of the Dead version, Dia de los Muertos. Oh my gosh, it looks so good.
It does look nice.
It does. I kind of wish they wouldn't have put it on the basic ghost shell, but at the same time, it still looks freaking cool.
Yeah.
So they have an entire interview with him. I'm not going to be covering that.
No, there's a lot of information. Read it, folks, if you want to. It's like one of those. It's kind of interesting. They don't usually do this in a TWAB, maybe because, like you said, lighter this week. But it's almost like one of those articles that might have been posted separately, just a spotlight on someone.
Right? Exactly. They did this super bizarro then, because again, what they did post before the TWAB, which I completely forgot until this moment.
Yes. So we do have more news.
Yeah, the only other thing in the TWAB, okay, I guess I can finish out the TWAB. That's fair.
Yeah.
The only thing left in the TWAB is legitimately patch notes that are coming with a patch 3.3.1. Is a hotfix that is coming with that thing we just mentioned.
Yeah, it comes this Tuesday.
Festival of the Lost.
Festival of the Lost. If you want to know more, you can also check out my known issue spreadsheet. I actually added some of these things in there. So
yeah,
I don't think there was anything too super important.
Well,
as far as new stuff.
Well, the patch notes. I feel this is really nice, and I kind of wonder why they didn't do this from the beginning. But one thing in the patch notes, or one thing they're introducing, is basically they're increasing the drop chance for an adept Nightfall weapon from a platinum Grandmaster Nightfall to 100%.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I was just super focused on things are being fixed. But this is a quality of life thing. This is amazing, right? So now because don't you get a guaranteed adept if you go flawless in trials?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we get a guaranteed adept if we finish a Grandmaster.
Yeah. Well, if you platinum
it. Yeah.
So killing all the champions,
which is
will
usually
reward
you for a Grandmaster to do.
Yeah, but the fact that it is 100% going to give you an adept weapon, I just, again, it's like, why didn't you do this before? But either way, it's in now. It's only going to miss one rotation basically, so no big deal, I guess. And yeah, there's a bunch of tweaks they're doing with the corrupted.
Yes. Because you couldn't platinum that one because there was an unstoppable. Well, sorry, I didn't mean to read ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
This is funny because I did not know about this. No one else reported it to me. Right. The notes are hilarious. Like, okay, they have they have little dots. Usually each dot's a different patch note item, and they're like basically the TLDR. Oh, there was this unstoppable phalanx that would spawn, but you couldn't really defeat them because you know how it goes back and forth in that encounter between the different planes. And then basically they're like, he's gone. He's destroyed. Dust. You'll never see the light of day again. And they're all different little bullet points.
Right. I love this. It's great. Because it's the Taken Ogre specifically, which once you kill the ogre, you don't switch back to the taken plane because you always finish in where the normal ogre is. So yeah, if you accidentally kill the mini boss before killing the champion, you can't get a platinum. So yeah, this is a fantastic like it's just another little quality of life thing, which is nice and everything. But I'm also super glad to see that they reduced the knockback buff from the Sadia's Durance activity modifier, which increases the knockback buff of the boss. Yeah, the Taken Techian witch. Yeah, they gave her more knockback. Like, what? But they're basically cutting this buff in half. So, yeah, you're welcome. Because that's just, and of course there's a bunch of like UI tweaks, which I won't go into details about those but yeah, that's kind of the meat of this meager TWAB, which isn't bad. But yeah, like I said, it just feels so weird that, like you said, the interview with the guy feels like a spotlight instead of being in a TWAB. But then this news, the Destiny Content Vault update was a side thing that they didn't put in the TWAB. So it's like, I feel like they could have like reversed those two like sections. But either way, the DCV is back at it again. We are losing more content.
But when?
What is this? Okay.
You said that it's like all I thought was.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of in the middle of podcast. Okay, sorry, my wife had to.
No worries.
Like, my wife caught the big monster in the Resident Evil trailer. Yeah, it looks awful. It does look pretty bad.
Send a picture if you haven't.
Mrs. Raven.
Or we can watch it later and pause and watch.
But yeah, anyway, so yeah, the DCB is back at it again. It is returning. They are going to be vaulting some content to make way for Witch Queen. Except it's not what most of us anticipated, I do feel. Because with this entire focus on the Dreaming City this season, I would have laid money on the fact that they were going to vault the Dreaming City. Like, we were going to conclude the curse, the Awoken were going to be freed, and then something was going to happen and it was going to be segmented away.
15th wish.
Something, yeah. A lot of people were expecting, I mean...
Right? I mean, then we're getting a new raid, and that would have been a raid cleared out. We're getting a new dungeon. That would have been a dungeon cleared out. It just seems like the smarter space to vault, too. But that's not happening.
I mentioned in chat earlier, I mean, it seems like almost like they can't, with how heavily this season is tied in to everything with Savathun and Marasov. Like, how do you get rid of that big of a destination with the next expansion being centered around what we're doing right now, basically?
Well, just because we're doing...
It could be done then by the next expansion. Yeah. Something big happens and...
I mean, yeah, just because we're doing this here now doesn't mean that... I mean, look at Season of Arrivals. It focused on Io. It focused on Titan. It completed storylines. It put finality to certain characters. It hastened, like, Rasputin's storyline and progression. I mean, and then all those places just go away.
Yeah, I see that, but they had darkness, though. I mean, you saw that coming with the darkness ships on all of them.
Okay, and now we're dealing with people that toy around with paracausal forces via technology, much the same way House of Salvation did, and you can't think of a way that it can just suddenly disappear out of our reach?
Well, also, that brings up the discussion, is it always going to be story-related? Because if it is, then what's going to be the story for the Tangled Shore going away, not the Dreaming City? That doesn't really make a lot of sense. You know?
Right.
So maybe it doesn't have to be story-related.
This could be story-related.
Yeah, well, I hope so.
Because if you browse through the Destiny Content Vault, there are quite a few lines of Mara giving orders, or not really sanctioning orders, but mentioning basically dealing with the spider.
Yeah, And
Spider warns us on at least one occasion that he is basically like the law of the Tangled Shore. If not for him, who knows what could happen. Maybe it's not going to be sectioned away by darkness, but who knows what kind of power vacuum would be left if the spider got dealt with.
well, didn't they mention something about the spider also? He's going to be gone also, I believe. Well, obviously, because the Tangled Shore's going to be gone.
Right.
Exactly.
So, yeah. But I mean, they specifically mentioned because of what, like, in case people are like, oh no, how are we going to do the resource buys and stuff? Like, where is that going?
Already handled.
Enter the most hated individual in Destiny history. Good old Daddy Rahul is going to be taking care of your currency exchanges.
Yay! I mean,
just when you thought you could get rid of him.
Yeah, Spider's gone. It makes sense to go to him because what else
right?
do we care to go to him for except for the stupid primes?
I mean, legitimately, like that's what he's relegated to, and that's why I loved what they did with just normal engrams decrypting, because you go to him so rarely now. You didn't depend on him to get loot. So yeah, the only reason you went to him was like prime engrams and pre-order bonuses. I said, all right, see you whenever.
Yeah.
Yeah, now if you want extra glimmer planetary materials, they go from one crime boss to the next.
Nice. Okay,
I'm
so
sorry,
we said, yeah, Tangled Shore is going away. So what else does that mean, Des? Like, what else is going away with it or not going away? Or
I believe the strikes are also going with it. I actually have to sit down and plant my face back into this article. They do mention. Oh, anyway, the Forsaken campaign is also going to be gone, of course. Because whether, actually, to be honest, I didn't think of that. Like 90% of the actual campaign for Forsaken actually happens on the Tangled Shore.
Yeah.
The Dreaming City is like
that last one.
I can compare when you compare it to Taken King, and once you finished Regicide, and then you had all these extra things to do throughout the solar system.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Dreaming City was for Forsaken. Like you finished the campaign, you opened the Dreaming City, everything got cursed, but everything beyond that was kind of extra.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so now I can actually, basically, just saying that out loud, I can kind of understand why they're vaulting Tangled Shore, because there's probably so many assets tied to the Tangled Shore, from cutscenes, boss information, good lord, all those hunts and crap. Good lord, all of the spider bounty like bosses and whatnot. So yeah, there's actually a fair decent amount of information tangled up, more so than I thought, at least on the surface.
It looks like the one thing we're keeping from there, we are keeping the Warden of Nothing strike.
Yes,
so maybe they're
yes,
just taking that out, but not the other strike, huh? Or the one that's the Night Grandmaster.
Yeah, exactly. I guess that one's. I guess this is that one's last hurrah, I suppose.
So why the one and not the other?
Right?
Maybe because the one is more. Well, I guess the one is more focused in kind of those patrol areas, and then Warden of Nothing is just a different space.
Yeah, because Warden of Nothing kind of happens more so in the intro, which you only get to play it once anyway. But yeah, so there, of course, the campaign itself is going to be gone with the start, or Tangled Shore, the Forsaken campaign. All of that is going to be vaulted out in February of 2022 when Witch Queen comes out. Beginning on December the 7th, the Forsaken part of Destiny will be free to play for everyone. So they are giving people that didn't want to buy it or whatever that capability of at least experiencing the campaign before it gets vaulted. Mm-hmm. And also on December 7th, the Forsaken pack will be available for purchase, which will give you access to everything that's left from the Forsaken era that's not on the Tangled Shore. So Dreaming City, Shattered Throne, Last Wish, all of those things are staying, and I'm assuming this Forsaken pack is going to be relatively cheapish, maybe about $15. I'm hoping, because $15 sounds a little steep to me. But
Yeah,
I
10
can
to
still see
15 at
$15.
most, hopefully.
That's what I'm hoping, and that would give you access to, again, the Dreaming City, the dungeon, the raid, which is all staying, which is, again, just mind-boggling to me that I just knew they were going to get rid.
Yeah.
I would have put money on it, and
I didn't really think
I
about
would
it.
have lost that money.
I would have put money too on the Dreaming City going away, and for some reason I didn't put two and two together. That means the raid too. I kept focusing on what's coming. So you mean to tell us then so we have 4 raids right now. By the end of next year, we're going to have 6 raids because a new one
I know,
and an old one coming back.
A reprise, yep.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
Last Wish. Oh yeah, that's right. Garden,
DSC
and Vault.
Yeah, so we have
So
4
you have
right
2
now,
more,
and then 2 more coming.
which is either Kingsfall or Wrath of the Machine.
Please bring
Because
back Wrath.
They said it wasn't a small one, so bye-bye Crota.
I know. I feel like it's going to be King's Fall, but I so want it to be Wrath.
I know. I would be super happy. You know what? To be honest, now that I think about this, I almost hope it's King's Fall more. Because that's the thing. King's Fall was a bunch of stand here, shoot this, stand here, shoot that. But with how they kind of revitalized Vault, I would like to see how they change up King's Fall and maybe make it more interesting as well.
I'm going to love it if it comes out, but I still...
And I still feel like Wrath of the Machine is a better base raid. I think it's like the best base raid in Destiny 1.
Yep.
Because they never needed to touch it. It was fun to me. It was exciting. It wasn't just stand here, shoot this. There was like mechanics and things to juggle, but it wasn't too overwhelming. It was a good balance of things. So I feel like it needs like the least amount of attention to be touched or to be, made relevant or whatever terminology you want to use for it. But I do feel like a different breath of life could do wonders for King's Fall. Yeah. So yes, as of now, I hope it's King's Fall more.
Yeah. What's also interesting, and I know you've had this discussion many times too, but some more information now on the paste bin is incorrect because weren't they saying 2 other planets that were being vaulted, and it wasn't this. It was
yeah, but again, to be fair, whatever was right, especially if the time frame of the paste bin is accurate, which would have been before Beyond Light.
Yeah.
I mean, development changes happen.
And that's kind of the point I was trying to make, and you said that a lot. And so, I think kind of like the big point now too is the paste bin is it's weird to say, but it's so old now that whatever goes. It's like whatever,
Exactly. Like it's a good milestone, at least for what they were thinking or what they were planning. But there's no telling. Yeah, I mean it's definitely, like I said, one of the points I kept trying to make is development ideas and development decisions can change at any point in time. And this is proof of it because I'm pretty sure, like you said, the paste bin mentioned, which is again why I thought it, the fact that we were breaking the curse on the Dreaming City so it could be vaulted. I'm pretty sure.
And then they had another planet too. I want to say like Nessus or EDZ or something.
I think they were mentioning EDZ.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, which I doubted that anyway. That might have been like an emergency in case they needed a room. Yeah. But I doubt that had much weight. But all information and leaks were pointing to, or all speculation was pointing to the Dreaming City, but Bungie's like, nah, dog. It's gonna be this. So yeah, it's kind of refreshing though to know that there are development changes. So even if it was right, now we can be surprised again, even with the existence of the paste bin. For those of us that have read deeply into the paste bin, like this numbskull. And by this numbskull, I mean that guy. By that guy, I mean me.
Yeah.
That's true.
One last thing. Oh, go ahead, Cyn.
No, I mean it's good that they can make decisions on the fly, and I think they mentioned that too in the art in the content vault. All the changes that they made, you know, I remember reading it somewhere that because of these changes, they can make all this happen on the fly. So, hats off to them.
Yeah, and legitimately, like a year's time, basically, to have one game plan of vaulting one area, and still at some point within that year, changing it and vaulting an entirely new area. I mean, a year seems like a lot of time, but when it comes to like development time, that's nothing. I mean, good lord, what Call of Duty when they needed 3 studios to get out one a year? So you're thinking like a game like Call of Duty, like that's a 3-year dev time. And again, this little change doesn't sound like much, but there's no telling what hoops they potentially had to jump through just for that one change. So yeah, like I said, it's quick.
For sure. The other thing that's going on, which they have warned us, is all the Year 4 seasonal content, except for Battleground for some reason.
Right.
They're going to turn those into like strikes.
Well, no, they're going to mesh them. They're going to mix them.
Vanguard operations.
Yeah.
Yes, that will be our new playlist. Apparently, we will either get a strike or a battleground. I love that idea.
I do too. And it makes sense because they were the 3-person activities, so it goes along with strikes.
And legitimately, if they actually like in the future made strikes a little more battlegrounds like, I'm thinking they could be onto something with that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, a lot of people, when you play a strike like 15 blue million times, it comes to, it's no surprise that a person like loses appreciation of like the details of the strike. Strikes either become something to complete because you have to, or something to speedrun because you have to complete it, whatever. But you lose a lot of like the nuance that is in a strike, and there can be like a lot of story and a lot of funny lines just hidden within there. So legitimately, if they just take a little less effort making them and making them more like battlegrounds, which is basically just waves of enemies coming at you with a couple mini bosses and then a boss, I think that would go over so much better. But that's me, and
it makes sense.
I'm crazy, so
no, it makes a lot of sense. And then of course build upon that, have like more waves and
right?
the
like it's
ever elusive wave based activity that we'll never get.
Right. Battlegrounds was pretty close, I feel
it
was,
yeah.
And you're still saying keep the strikes as they are anyway for like Nightfall versions, like we have now, not regular Nightfalls and Grandmasters, but have like normal strikes.
Let's do Nightfall Battlegrounds.
Nightfall Battlegrounds.
Let's see how that goes. Oh, can you imagine a Grandmaster Battleground? Oh my god, that'd be a nightmare to be legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
Waves of champions.
that ad density with champions? Oh my god. Oh, that would be kind of awful.
So we do have to remind. So yeah, we mentioned Battlegrounds of Stain, but the most specific, interesting things that are going are Harbinger and Presage exotic missions.
Yeah,
so
that's going to be definitely complete your Presage, complete your Harbinger, get the Hawk Moon, get the DMT you really, really want, because the unfortunate casualty of vaulting the Tangled Shore. But Harbinger doesn't even happen on Tangled Shore.
No, but they had mentioned anyways, like they're going to start having these. Remember the year before, the seasonal stuff only lasted for a season, and now they said it's going to last for a year, and then they take them away.
Because Presage and Harbinger are technically seasonal.
Yeah. that will last
Oh
for a year
yeah,
and then go
yeah,
away.
yeah. Fair. I forgot they were technically seasonal.
Yeah.
They stuck around for so long. It's like, oh, they're just part of the game.
And that reminds me, we're talking about Presage. It was Converse. I actually ran the normal and the harder version with Converse this week as well, and it actually wasn't as bad as I remember getting through them. I remember when we first did them, they were hard, but it was good. It was good to actually go back and actually do it again.
Yeah. And then the last thing I was going to say from this, to me, a really interesting line that I missed until recently, and then you can go this. But they said, they understand, these are unique experiences. We are investigating ways to reprise and create new, exciting, exotic special missions. So some old exotic missions may be coming back. D1, or what does that mean?
I'm probably mostly referring to Whisper and
D2, like those, yeah.
What was it called? The Outbreak mission.
Outbreak, the tower. I don't know what it was called. 0 Hour, right?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's it. Probably referring to those, but because all we really had in D1 was the spindle, right? As far as that goes, that I can remember.
And they were like just in strikes playlist areas, right? They weren't.
Yeah, as far as hidden exotic missions go, I can only remember spindle.
Wait, did you say that they were getting rid of, real quick, they're getting rid of Presage and Harbinger?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
They are keeping it. Note, the Dreaming City destination will continue to be available.
Mm-hmm.
This is a separate thing. Yeah.
Okay, the parentheses. Okay, they are getting rid of it. Okay, confirmed.
Yes.
Because they already told us in the past, this is a separate thing. These, don't think of this as like an expansion. This is seasonal activities. They're only lasting for a year. That's their plan now, and then they go away.
Exactly.
Got it.
Also,
Except
another thing, Battlegrounds and the Proving Ground strike will be carrying over, which is fair because that is a strike, and I have a strike for just one season, right?
Yeah.
Now I think I potentially lost.
That might have been if those. It would be really interesting if Whisper or 0 Hour comes back. I feel like a little bit weird by that, but maybe. But they did use the word reprise, so
there's no telling. They still haven't given us any kind of time frame or timeline of the Outbreak Catalyst or Whisper Catalyst. Like those still aren't available, as far as I know.
So
that and Sleeper, right? You said
Sleeper's available.
No, Sleeper is a thing. And most of the ones that were tied to a raid, I think have been because Telesto is a thing now. That can just be acquired. I do believe Sleeper is the same way.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just specifically Whisper and Outbreak that they still haven't.
Yes, it was Outbreak
introduced into. Which again, this could be why they haven't mentioned. Like maybe they are planning some kind of reprisal or some kind of special mission to complete to get the catalysts, which I'd be cool with that. But it's a potential thing.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize Battlegrounds was actually that popular. But I guess they have the numbers to support something, so it's weird,
Mm-hmm.
So.
On them.
Surely they won't have. They'll have to change them slightly, because surely, the whole Cabal Gold part of it, won't be a thing anymore after the season ends. I'm assuming, the whole Hammer Challenge or whatever
at the end.
Yeah, maybe just make it a regular strike chest at that point in time is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's probably the easiest way to solve it.
Yeah.
Well, it was definitely quite the news. I don't know if there was any other points you guys wanted to make about that stuff.
Nope, just surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Pleasantly surprised to not, because as soon as they mentioned, Destiny Content Vault updates, say goodbye to Dreaming City. Here it is. Tangled Shore? What?
And then, of course, there were some of the comments like, wait, what, why are they doing this? I'm like, come on. Either you've been in denial or haven't been paying attention because they've told us that this was happening all along.
Legitimately, because again, I think also a lot of people are forgetting, or like, now that next gen is coming out, like a lot of people are owing up fast load times to next gen and like the standardization of SSDs. Remember, once content vaulting started, it drastically improved older console generation loading time, like drastically improved them.
Mhm.
So this is how they keep those times down. They have to give and take. They have to, like with their system right now, to add more. I mean, like I said, it's give and take. This has to be the compromise.
It does, as long as it's on current. The only way that we could have this gold standard of everything would be A, PC next gen only. B, they probably would have to truly change the whole engine.
It's that's legitimately what it boils down to, because we mentioned it with FUD, but like Final Fantasy 14, all of its content is available on PS4. And you want to talk about huge worlds, it's all there. But the way they do it, most of their information is on dedicated servers for it. And that's a huge undertaking. So, I mean, and that, like, the way the engine is and the way the engine uses the information that it has, like, it would need, that's not even just an engine, that's almost also like a, just, I guess, coding in general, like how information is handled by the engine and what gets sent
Everything.
in. Exactly. So, I mean,
Gator hasn't popped in yet just to say, what, new engine?
Right.
Where are you, Gator?
I'm still definitely looking forward to whenever they do have that eureka moment of just having a Destiny title with everything. I'm still going to hold on to that dream alongside Gator.
Oh, I am too. But the funny thing is that he was thinking it was coming like right away, and like I'm thinking if it comes, it'll be way down the road. And
probably,
and you can't. Well, anyways, never mind. I'll just hold my tongue.
you could. Because definitely the way I'm seeing it is it's definitely the same way, like 100%. Because it's not going to happen anytime soon. Yeah, no time soon. We'll be lucky
because
if
it happens 5 years from now. Does that still mean you're right, Gator? Because we were even expecting that,
right? But yeah, because even if it's soon after like the final shape, that's still a couple years away.
Yeah.
And that's still probably way too soon.
Yeah. Well, we got like 3 years of more content upon us.
I definitely will say. My prediction is post final shape is when they're going to drop PS4 support.
That's a good prediction.
That's what I'm guessing.
If you remember, I had a much more too liberal of an opinion, which I admit I was wrong. Unless they tell us, I don't think this is going to happen anymore. But my initial guess was they were going to drop it with Witch Queen, and I don't think that's going to be true anymore.
Nah.
We probably would have been hearing about it by now. So
for sure, because that was like the whole. Well, I mean, we would have heard about it because of pre-orders as well.
Yep, that's true.
We wouldn't have been able to pre-order for PS4 at that point in time.
Very true. Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, because that's what happened with Rise of Iron. Like they announced it, and it's like one of the first things they announced was like, yeah, this is PS4 only, like this gen only. Sorry, guys. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, that's what I'm guessing. That they're going to drop the old console, because it's kind of also the MO. Like if the consoles exist, they usually give it a couple years. Because Destiny 2 came out like right on the cusp of PS4 anyway, and it wasn't until Rise of Iron that it was all. So yeah, that was like the third year. So had a good 2 years of that thing.
Yeah.
So considering we're in the midst of a console generation shift, I mean, yeah, another 3 years would actually be pretty generous, I feel. But yeah, that's my thoughts. That's my prediction, which I'll actually stand by if it's wrong or if it's right.
Oh yeah.
Destiny was
Cyn,
wrong if they
what's
didn't
your-
do it.
Cyn, you need to have a prediction. Do you have any predictions? Just make a goofy prediction.
Prediction, live update. I got the Agar Scepter Catalysts. There you go.
Nice.
But
Nice.
no, I mean,
but
at some
prediction.
point, I do think with evolving the game, if they're going to evolve it and keep evolving it, they are going to have to, we'll throw the term around sunset or, not support the older consoles. Because they're just not going to be able to handle it. I think the play would be if they are continuing, what's after Lightfall? That's Final Shape.
Yeah.
You said, Des, they're probably going to do it at Final Shape. I think if they're going to do it, they're going to do it at Lightfall. Because that was the original plan.
I mean, that's true. And let's just say I wouldn't be utterly surprised if they did it. Well, actually, to be fair, I think my original prediction was Lightfall, but I did push it out, at least now, or in thoughts was Lightfall, but now that they've announced Final Shape, I did push it out like sometime around there. But yeah, I would not be surprised if they dropped it around Lightfall instead of Final Shape, to be honest. Because like I said, 3 years is kind of a generous time. 2 years is exactly what we had before, so,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be too upset anyway at that point in time. Because, I mean, yeah. I would just almost wish that they would announce that kind of plan way ahead of time.
Yeah. And then that made
that
me
way
think
people
too,
can know,
Yeah.
I mean, we did say earlier that they can change what they're doing as far as development on the fly. I mean, the same thing. They might change when they're going to do it on the fly based on what content they're bringing out, right? So if they're bringing out something that's going to be more processor intensive, that's going to require next gen, then they do it sooner.
Because right now, Destiny 2 content is like a 3-year window, I think?
That's what it seems like. That's kind of what we're doing.
Because, of course, there was D2 Vanilla. Forsaken was the year after. The year after that was the Seasons, and then Shadowkeep. So Shadowkeep was like the 4th year of Destiny 2. And they're just now getting rid of Forsaken with Witch Queen. With Shadowkeep going into... Yeah, Shadowkeep went into this one that we're on. So yeah, about a 3-ish year window. So everything before that is just kind of going to be gone, which I don't know. Not even that is actually entirely true now because they're skipping Dreaming City. So you can't even go by that standard.
At least they're getting rid of some of it. So then that's where people will maybe be upset and say, like, well, if you're truly, how come you didn't get rid of more? You can hold on to stuff, Bungie. But hey, at least they're holding on to important things like raids.
I mean, yeah.
And obviously it's like, I'm sure the raid is less. Well, there's so many reasons why they could have done this. Like Cyn was saying back at the beginning too, this could be a pretty big mix for all we know of story reasons and technical reasons for keeping the Dreaming City. And logistical reasons, they want to keep another raid around. So everything together could be why they're keeping it.
Then, I mean, more sources of guaranteed pinnacle gear is quite nice. So, or not guaranteed pinnacle, but like because the dungeons and the raids are like the better source of like high stat roll armor. So,
yeah,
keep them around.
And then we are getting weekly featured raids, I believe, with Witch Queen.
Is that finally happening?
I think so.
They did mention it.
Yeah, I know. It was like kind of like accidentally in some patch notes, and then like, oh, we're not ready for that yet. But then I believe they mentioned it was going to be coming in the year of Witch Queen. I would assume at the beginning, but maybe not.
That was early Beyond Light too. That was an accident. That was an oopsie. So it's like, what the? Who sent the wrong memo? Like,
Who leaked this?
Yeah.
right? It's like, what the crap? It's like, no. That plan is like a year out. That shouldn't be in the patch notes. Who does, like, come on now.
Yeah.
The further we get from this happening, the more ludicrous it was that it was in the patch notes, like early Beyond Light.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the story some. Because we have to really just, at least I want to. I mean, it was pretty amazing / sad / expected that Crow, touched Savathun with her, guidance.
Touched her right on the cocoon.
Touched her right on the cocoon. But he had a Vulcan mind meld with her, and he saw his whole past.
Now, here's the curious thing, though. He saw his life through his eyes, though. He didn't see it from like a perspective that would make sense for like Savathun, potentially, unless Savathun, unless Osiris wasn't the first time Savathun was using a meat puppet. So it's very interesting to me that he specifically mentioned the line that he saw everything he did through his own eyes.
Yeah. I mean, maybe she has ways to see things through a lot of her minions and her shriekers and things like that. But
I think that's like intense foreshadowing.
Gotcha.
Is what I'm thinking. Like this whole thing is like, yes, a very sad moment for Crow because now he knows exactly how big of a douchebag he was as Uldren Sov. But I think it's massive foreshadowing. Because after all, if Savathun is wielding the light in a way that would kind of make the most sense, how would she still have her memories?
Gotcha.
That is interesting.
That's the first thing that goes.
And the other thing is, why is this the first time we're seeing somebody discover their past after becoming a light bearer?
Because it's Guardian taboo.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't want Crow to. Obviously Marasov was saying no, but he still got in, and
And this is not a new plot point of Guardians being forbidden from finding out their past lives. It was kind of a major plot point for Anna Bray as well. But of course, Anna's big temptation to even look was the fact that she lucked out and had an ID badge for Braytech on her. So she had kind of easy access to her former life. But yeah, I think like this little bit of the story is some foreshadowing because I do have a theory for Witchwing, which I believe I posted. Was it the lore channel? Was that our lore channel?
I don't know.
If so, I missed it, so you might as well go ahead and do it live.
I'm definitely going to do it live. I'm just trying to figure out when and where.
Well, while you're looking that up, I thought it was interesting. Sure. He said to us, like, "Oh, you knew too and didn't tell me." And I'm thinking, like, bitch, I might have told you if I had the choice, but you didn't give me the choice. So don't complain to me. But I thought that was funny. He's like, "Oh, you knew too." Of course we knew. We're the main story.
Since we're on that, didn't he say in one of those messages that he was going to be leaving or going on assignment or leave the tower or something? And he's still in the tower.
Well, yeah, I know. I was thinking about that too.
Don't confuse plot with technical limitations, okay?
Because then he would be three places at once.
Yeah, I was about to say, because if you're going to complain about that, why don't you still complain about the Crow that's still on the Tangled Shore?
Well, he won't be much longer. Tangled Shore's getting vaulted.
And guess what? He won't be in the Helm much longer either, because he's going to go away when the seasonal stuff goes away.
So for now, he's 3 places.
Right? Technically 4 if you haven't finished if you haven't finished the.
Oh my gosh.
Well, if you haven't completed the Forsaken campaign, I don't see how you would have access to one of his places anyway. So anywho, potentially 4 if you didn't completely play through Forsaken.
Oh my
Not a problem.
We've found something interesting here, folks.
Right. Uldren solved the true paracausal force. He can potentially be in 4 places at once. Um, but yeah, I found it. It was our lore talk. Because again, this is. I will preface this like I did in lore talk. This is pure speculation. This is regardless of any knowledge, because I try and keep certain like thought processes and things separate of potential spoilers and whatnot from potential leaks, which may or may not even be accurate anymore. But this thought crossed my mind and it was very interesting. Was it that one? Nope, it was up a little bit. So, a lot of speculation on how exactly Savathun gets the light. But of course, considering they have like ghost-like objects, here's the thing. My big like thought on this is she's doing a lot for Crow. Like she disguised as Osiris, she's like one of the forces that potentially that had us working with Crow in the first place during Season of the Hunt. Supported our decision entirely to free the Crow and bring him back to the tower in some ways. That is when fake Osiris took Crow under his wing to kind of help and like hide himself to be safe in the last city. Good Lord has helped. I mean, Good Lord Savathun says it herself. She helped quell what could have been a massive war with Keitel, because she did not like go for any kind of war. She actually was like following Zavala's orders as fake Osiris. I mean, she's done a lot of things to the benefit of us. So what if all of these things like somehow add up, and when the exorcism happens, and of course Marasov has mentioned herself, she wants her dead.
Yeah,
so the
that's
worm
the
gets
story. Yep.
yeah. So I mean, if that happens, they like rip the worm out of her and they kill her. What if all of this actually has her deemed worthy to bear the light, and she is actually truly reborn as a guardian, just of complete free will, no trickery? Because as I mentioned, like, wouldn't that be the greatest trick of all? The trickster being honest.
It would. I love this idea. I should have read that more in the lore channel. I was having kind of a similar thought, not anywhere nuanced like what you're saying, but
right.
What if we actually work with her and she becomes like someone we're wanting and liking in Witch Queen?
Yeah,
You know what
because I mean, she's speaking a lot of truth whenever she does. Like, I mean, she even mentioned herself, like, we're trained to try and see the deception, or something to that effect. It was like an early conversation with her. We're trying to see how this benefits her. But what if that's just not the case right now? Like, it could again be like a whole grand scheme to technically steal the light by not stealing it at all. Like, isn't that the best way to steal money, is to somehow convince your target to just give it to you?
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I was thinking though, all right, because my only issue with this thought beforehand was, okay, she gets the light, she gets a ghost. How does she, like, how does an entire brood of hive also get chosen as worthy? But that's, I think, is shortly after. I think this is when I actually watched. It's when I actually watched the story, and the Crow got his memory back from some Savathun trickery. So what if she can get her memories back? I mean, with what Savathun knows right now, she actually knows more about the light than we do. Because, I mean, Savathun was like the first witch. She helped craft these rituals that would actually rip the light out of a ghost to feed it to Hive. She knows how to manipulate light. She already knows, like, its quantifiable forces. So if she has light just freely, that could be what spawns her Lucent Brood. Because, again, we do have the lore knowledge that Crow collected some dead ghosts for fake Osiris. So, fake Osiris has a lot of ghost shells somewhere. And again, like I said, for someone that actually knows how to manipulate light before they even have light as a source, seems kind of easy to me. That she would just be able to kind of hijack these ghosts with light mixed with some weird hive runes. Because why not? So yeah.
Yeah.
That's my entire theory of how this happens.
When do we find
'Cause
out
again-
that he was collecting the ghosts?
It's in one of the lore book pages,
Ah, gotcha.
I believe. It was either that or one of the voice lines from Activity Completion, potentially. But it has been said, for sure. I do believe that information would be out in some manifestation now. Pretty sure, yeah.
Yep. And like you were mentioning, both the audio lines plus the lore book this week is really focusing on how much Mara hates Savathun.
Which is fair, because I mean,
Yeah.
look at what Savathun did to the Dreaming City. Like, credit goes, of course, to like Riven and Curia, who kind of helped, make it go. But the architect, the mastermind of this curse, was still Savathun. And it was so perfect, too. Like, I don't think I've really appreciated how perfect of a curse The Last Wish really is. I mean, she's legitimately tricking us to do what we do normally. Oh, big boss monster? Let's murder it. So as we it was like apparently like in lore for the first Ahamkara hunt, like a lot of the struggles that some people had with hunting Ahamkara was the fact they would wish for it to like not stop or whatever. So they would have some like really prolonged fights just because they were enjoying it or whatever. And that's exactly what Savathun did to us for Last Wish. We can't break that curse. Because in order to break the curse, we have to kill Riven, but Riven gets reincarnated by Dulan Kara, who's the boss of the Shattered Throne. But if we kill Dulan Kara, Riven can bring her back. So then we go back and kill Riven. It's circles. So yeah.
And then the voice lines this week were a little confusing, making it first sound like, and I wasn't expecting to have any bigger part to the story happen. I feel like we are in a pause, but the voice lines were saying we're really close to the ritual of freeing Savathun. They say that like, oh, does that mean now? Does that mean next Tuesday? But I kind of feel like we're going to have to wait now.
See, that's also the thing, though, because a lot of people are thinking, it's like, oh, we only have one more witch to get. There were 13 Techians in this new coven. This next week would be, what, 9?
No, we have 7. And
okay.
And there's only 7 in the Triumphs. And if you look at the way they're circled around in the Helm area, there's only room for one more. Oh, I don't know if that'd be Marsav standing there or what.
For the outer circle, sure.
Yeah, that's true. The outer circle, yeah. Maybe there could be more,
but
somewhere else.
In order to reach out and go into the plane to grab Mara, or through the ley lines to even grab Mara, they had an outer circle and an inner circle of 3.
Okay. So,
but again, like I just like the triumphs and everything definitely do line up, but I just think it's weird because again we have it's a legitimate coven of 13 witches, 3 of which are named, and one of which is definitely dead because it died in the lore, or she died in the lore. But yeah, so we have 7 out of 12 potentially active Techians.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also really just glad that this season focuses on retrieving Techians, because I've always been really concerned on how to pronounce that. But now I have no question because they say it like 5 times every week.
Now, the three that are at the beginning of the Forsaken campaign, actually the Dreaming City, when we first drop in and they're at the beginning, are they the three that we like go after,
No.
like Last Wish and the Strike and stuff? Or are they a different
Oh,
three?
the three.
There's what? Is there two in Last Wish and one in the Strike? Is that how it works? I think?
Yes, and those are the last of Mara's old coven.
Okay.
So which hilariously, this new coven of Techian, like, it's really weird that Mara says that they're her coven. Because after, I think it was sometime after she like crafted her own throne world with the help of Riven, she actually decreed that there wouldn't be any more Techians. So this new coven was actually a coven that was created after the Battle of Saturn, when Mara was presumably dead. And Petra convinced, I believe Ildra was her name, the coven mother of the Techians, to start training a new coven. So these 13 Techians actually weren't sanctioned. But I guess Mara had that planned, because they're her Techians. Somehow, some way. She's reminding me a lot of, if you've watched the movies, what was his name? I forget the character's name, but the character Jigsaw from the Saw film series. Like,
I vaguely know about it.
Yeah, I mean, as the movies go on, what was his name? Do you remember?
I do
No,
not.
Just asking my wife, but we can't remember the name of the character. Tobin Bell is the actor that played him. I know that much, but like Jigsaw himself, like as the movies go on, especially later on, because I think, spoiler alert, the character Jigsaw dies in like the third movie, but the fourth, fifth, and sixth movies still has plans that were laid out by him before he died. So he has this almost like supernatural, like, planning and predictability that, like I said, like Mara's whole thing, just, that's what she reminds me of right now. Like, she has so many nuances and things to her plans that even when technically someone's going against her orders and trains new Techians, well, they're still her Techians. And that's how it was going to be anyway, because I don't know. Like, it's really weird.
Gotcha. That is intriguing.
Yeah. So again, like, it's just weird because people kept saying, it's like, oh yeah, but these are Mara's Techians. I'm like, not technically. But then Mara herself was like saying, my Techians, and it's like, John Kramer. That was the character's name. But yeah. So it was weird for me to hear her confirm that these are her Techians. And like the lore where they went and got her, and she came back, she's like, oh, thank you. And it's like, but these shouldn't be there. All right, whatever. So yeah.
Well, I'm excited to see what's going to be coming up, but it's really hard to know. The only other thing that I think they confirmed in the TWAB was the heroic version of the Shattered Realms are starting next week also.
Legendary,
whatever they call it.
Legendary alignments, I think, is what you're talking about.
Alignments? I thought they said Shattered Realm. Let's see what the...
Potentially it's both.
Yeah, potentially it's both.
One or the other.
Yeah, because there is a triumph for legendary alignments.
Well, I know, but
there are also things connected with legendary Shattered Realms, apparently. So yeah, I don't know exactly when. I kind of hope soon, but also at the same time, who knows? Even though it's weird, because they did say that patch, that hotfix was going to be coming with Festival of Lost, but they kind of made it seem like it was going to happen next week.
All they say, in fact, there's a picture in here too, but all they say for this next week is there will be some challenge to embrace within the Shattered Realm. So that seems to imply the harder version of the Shattered Realms are coming this next week. And they show a picture of, that one where we're holding down inside the church or whatever that thing is, and they show like a big phalanx coming running at us. If you look at
Oh
the
yeah,
12.
and that's also yeah, because next week like restarts it again, right? Because this is like the end of the cycle.
No, actually, yeah, because
This
there's
week was
3
the
and this week's
reset.
7. So this
Oh,
week
okay,
was
okay,
the
okay.
reset.
Yes.
Which is weird too, because the story ended up being 7 weeks so far. There may be
Yeah,
more to
7
add later on.
7 weeks on a 9-week cycle.
Right?
I don't know about that. But yeah, oh well.
They would
I
have to
definitely
bring
hope.
in new triumphs if there's going to be new story points, because all there is a couple hidden ones. And we've heard about potentially a hidden exorcism mission or something, but
Yeah, kind of like it's not Vex Offensive, because Vex Offensive was when Shadowkeep came out. The Splicer stuff.
yeah, Splicer stuff.
Overrides. There we go.
Yeah, and then they had the one with the Vex boss, the Kiora.
Oh yeah, and the Curia. Because that wasn't an override. That was
The
was that?
expunges. But
Yeah,
part
there
of
you
the
go.
whole thing. Yeah, part of the whole
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, exactly. So I'm guessing that's kind of potentially what we're going to have to go through, is maybe one last alignment, and like, I don't know, it's going to be really weird. I feel like how this.
Yeah, and who knows
How
if
it all
things
goes
got
through.
off track too with when they had to expand the season. They don't
Exactly.
have it in a perfect format anymore.
Like with Festival of the Lost potentially happening in what could have been the middle of these story beats, which
Mhm.
could be why it feels really weird right now, which it really does. Just from that alone. Like they
Mhm.
may have had to put a hard pause on it for Festival, because I mean, Splicer went that way too, right? When that seasonal event happened, like the story just kind of took a pause.
Yeah. Well, I'm not too concerned, but it will be interesting to see what. I'm really excited though for the Festival of the Lost, and at least we know it's going to be slightly different with the, let's just call them spooky lost sectors for now.
I know, right?
And whatever else might be
Haunted
coming.
Lost Sectors.
Haunted lost sectors.
They haven't tried to screw with Lost Sectors since the faction rallies.
That's right. Oh man.
That was like the last time they tried to include that I know of. This last time they tried to include Lost Sectors was like the last.
Hopefully they have a way to instance in where we can kind of like, the legend, like right now we have legend and lost sectors, but we can bring other people in with us, but we won't get the drops. But like maybe they can somehow integrate in harder versions that will work with this event, where we can bring friends in, because teamed up activities are always more fun when we have the opportunity.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, I'm definitely stoked to see what they're going to be doing, like just with everything,
Yeah.
Because I definitely want to find out what Haunted Lost Sectors even mean. Because again, they have a lot of information on failed attempts of trying to integrate Lost Sectors into events and stuff. And spoiler alert, it didn't work out, which is why that hasn't happened in a long time. So I'm excited to see like what this is, and I'm like super stoked that again, the kindness of people within our community, a specific person perhaps, that I'll be able to experience it.
Yay! I know, it's so awesome.
Like much sooner than I was anticipating, that's for sure. So yeah, it's just super fantastic. Like, okay, like as no words can do justice, like just the gratitude I feel.
Yeah.
For this, and it is fantastic. So,
oh, that's amazing.
Just communities are great. Amazing.
Indeed. It is. It's fantastic. It's magical. Yeah.
Well, that's a really good note to think about ending it on, because we are approaching 2 hours, and probably better start wrapping it up. Unless you had any other lore or story things for this week.
Oh, I have a bunch of lore and story stuff, but you really don't want to get me started.
I know. We probably, for sake of time,
RNG cast time.
Put a pin in that. Put a pin in it.
But no, yeah,
we
that's
love your
definitely.
story, but we only have so
No,
much
I know,
time.
I know. I don't even want to stay up that long. But no, like that's definitely like, because again, yeah, we talk about implications and stuff, and like my theory, and there's definitely implications I feel, and I mean, why else would? Oh, but the only thing I will have to say is like the Crow story is paying off pretty much exactly as I hoped it would. He is such a tragic soul as a guardian. And now to add an extra layer to that, he knows, again, how big of a douchebag he used to be. So, oh my god, he's such a good tortured hero right now.
Yeah.
Who is apparently hiding out on Venus.
Okay. Now,
I mean, not
do you
really hiding
think
out, but
he regrets now knowing? It's always one of those things, right? It's like you want to know, but you don't. Well, he didn't think he didn't want to know, but like,
right?
is he still happy that he knows now, or would he have been like, "Ooh, I wish I didn't find
Right?
out"?
I'm hoping that becomes a plot point in Witch Queen.
Yeah.
Like he disappears for a while now from the story, and then he comes back, perhaps with how he wants to go about things. You know, like I'm
Yeah.
not expecting anything major, but at least a bit of a conclusion, or maybe whether he's going to go renegade or steal his resolve and be our bestest friends ever. Because here's the thing that now he also definitely knows. He knows how big of a deal it was for Zavala to accept him based on what he looks like. Which sounds entirely racist when I say it out loud, but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that Zavala knew who he was, knew what he did, but still Zavala just helped him up.
Yep.
And like accepted him from that moment. Like it could go either way, like how Crow's gonna react in the end, but there's definitely enough there to support him going either way, and I love that, the uncertainty of like the storytelling. Because yeah, he knows how much of a criminal he is. He now knows why Guardians have hated him. But on that flip side, he's had like us, Fake Osiris, Zavala, Korra, like even Petra and the Awoken. Like there's just so much tugging him in both directions. It's going to be interesting to see where he lands.
Yeah.
That's it. I'll stop talking. I swear.
No, I love it. I love it. Well, we'll have stuff to look forward to, even if we don't hear on that. Okay? But we want to hear from you all. So let us know in the Discord what you're looking forward to. Let's see about this Halloween event coming up. I keep saying the Halloween event, but you know what I mean. Festival of the Lost. And
right.
let us know more lore or story things you want to talk about also, because potentially, especially a couple weeks from now in November, we will be talking about maybe less story stuff in the game. So
indeed.
Or not story, sorry, less of activity stuff in the game. So
yeah, I mean, and definitely hop into the lore channels. If you have a question, ask away. Like I'm definitely there. And when it comes to this lore, there's no such thing as a dumb question. There's something I kind of wish I tell Mr. Monkey a little more. Because he tends to open like, this might be a dim question, but it's like, it's not really dim. Like, and especially when it comes to this lore, there really is no dim questions, because a lot of this lore is very convoluted. So it takes a certain resolve to really weasel your way around and know where what lands. I'm not even that great. I just read a bunch. I've read through the lore a bunch. I've sites like Destinypedia usually have accurate things and like representations, so like at least figuring out where it fits in a timeline, like those places, Ishtar Collective, there's just so many sources. But yeah.
Yep. Ask the questions. And
ask a question. Propose a theory. Yes. I'll challenge it. But it's not mean. It's I challenge theories because that's how Exactly, because that's how a debate works.
Yeah.
Like, people forget the purpose of a debate is basically to find out how strong your side of the argument is. And if it's not that strong, you can find its weaknesses to perhaps strengthen it. That's the purpose of a debate.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the purpose of like challenging a theory, is to get you thinking about things, not to crush it, but maybe you can, see another way and like make it stronger. But yeah.
Yeah.
So never take
sure.
my challenges or questions or even anything when it comes to lore and story that seriously. Because again, I just want to know how strong this idea is and like everything and like how deep it goes and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Lore channel, show feedback channel, all the channels. And Cyn, sorry, I didn't ask you more questions, but what are you, just to cap off for the night, what was your biggest accomplishment tonight in the game?
My biggest accomplishment.
I don't know why I asked that.
I finished, or not, I didn't finish. I got Egger Scepter Catalyst, and I'm just putzing around on my Hunter and upgrading armor and switching armor pieces around. Now that I've gotten the Triumph done for using the seasonal armor. So
you've really been doing other characters more recently, and I've seen you on your Warlock a bit too.
Oh yeah, my Warlock is definitely geared towards PvP now. Oh, and I finished.
The Hunter should be PvP, and the Warlock should be PvE.
No, my Titan is geared towards PvE,
Well,
and I do want to get my Hunter towards PvP as well. So I did finish all my stasis this past week as well. I forgot to mention that earlier. Kind of a boring grind, but I finished stasis on both Warlock and Hunter recently.
So you have the turret.
Stasis turret. I have everything unlocked I need for Shatter Dive. So I'm prepared to run other characters as need be and stuff that I haven't done. That's
the biggest thing why I hated stasis on a Warlock, is because the super is stupid. The turret is awesome, but the super is like, come on. It's so like, it's just like I don't know. Yeah, I wish you could do like a big. I wish you could do like a big. It was like, I wish it was shorter, and it's not like a two-part. It's always like a two-part. Like, I wish you could do like a big blast area of effect of freezing, and then another big blast of destroying. Instead of like, yay, let's get these guys over here. Let's get these guys over here. Oh, the super's done. I got half as many ads as I would have gotten with like some other super on the Warlock.
Tickle fingers.
Yeah, maybe not that one, but
well,
I don't know. That's just my opinion on it. But I do the grenade, the Warlock stasis turret, and of course the melee is good because you have the range on that. So I do like the melee.
Yeah, that is definitely a good one there.
All right. We keep getting sidetracked. Do we gotta have Craig come in here and tell us the show's over?
Craig reverse.
I hope Craig's still recording. He is.
Well, G-Arc is.
G-Arc, that's what I meant.
Yeah,
Craig, whoever.
G-Arc's the one that always shows up.
All right, Cyn, where can people find you?
They can find me next to DesRaven in the Discord, or over on Twitter at Cyn_media. DesRaven, where can they find you?
You can find me, of course, on Twitter at DES_Raven, which is the home of the fastest index, which is completely updated again. I've added Egger Scepter to the trace rifles. Not as Catalyst, because Catalyst doesn't really do anything to its stats, so it didn't do it. I was lazy for once. Oh well. Otherwise, you can find me, of course, chilling in the Discord and the lore section, answering questions, postulating insane theories, like maybe Savathun's going to die a good guy. Yeah. So yeah, Kingsley?
Yep. Excellent. Yeah, and you can find me as Kingsleymac all the places, except for on Twitter, I am MC Kingsley. Now you can find our show either on Twitter as The Guardian Hub, or on our lovely website, theguardianhub.com.
The best hub on the net.
Nice.
I was way ready for it tonight.
You were ready. All right. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in again. This week, it was a lot of fun, and we really appreciate when you listen and let us know what you think. And we will talk to you again next week. Have a good one.
Bye.
Later.